By firelight and shadow, when the wind howled across the roofs of old villages, there was a name whispered in fear. She was said to ride the night sky, to curse with a glance, to dance with demons in the forest glades. They called her Witch. Not the storybook figure with a pointed hat, but the woman accused of bringing storms, of souring milk, of stealing children, of bending to the will of darker powers. Tonight, we uncover the truth behind the witch, not the costume, not the fairy tale, but the terror who haunted villages for centuries. Where did this fear begin? What kind of world gave rise to her image? What powers did people believe she held? How could she be resisted, if at all? And why does the witch still haunt our imagination today? Myths are not born from nothing. They rise from the people who first believed. The witches' stories spread like fire through villages, and if you'd help us keep their legends alive, subscribe to the channel. To understand the witch, we must step into a world where every shadow could hold a spirit, every illness a curse, every failed harvest the hand of an unseen enemy. This was Europe in the Middle Ages, though the roots go far deeper. Across forests and valleys, villages and castles, life was fragile. Famine struck without warning. Plague could turn towns into graveyards. A single storm could destroy a year's crop. When survival was always one misfortune away, people searched for someone to blame, and in whispers, the figure of the witch took form. But where did the first whispers of this dark figure truly begin? The idea of women wielding hidden, dangerous powers is older than Christianity, older even than Rome. In ancient Greece, they told of Circe, the sorceress who turned men into beasts, and of Hecate, goddess of crossroads and magic, who ruled over ghosts and moonlit spells. In Rome, laws were written against women mixing poisons, herbs, and charms. But the witch as we know her, the woman accused of serving evil, emerged much later in the Christian imagination. The Bible itself warned of sorcery. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. By the 15th century, belief hardened. A book called the Malleus Maleficarum, the Hammer of Witches, declared witches to be real and that they were servants of the devil. Suddenly, what had once been folklore became a matter of life and death. But what kind of world gave rise to such fear? To live in medieval Europe was to live in uncertainty. Lightning struck homes without warning. Cattle died suddenly. Children wasted away with fevers no healer could cure. And in this fragile world, the witch became the perfect scapegoat. She was said to spoil food, to cause miscarriages, to summon hail from clear skies. Communities built defenses, charms carved into doorways, herbs hung above cradles, prayers whispered at the hearth. The witch was everywhere and nowhere at once. Suspicion spread. Neighbors watched each other closely. A midwife who failed to save a child. A widow living alone at the edge of the woods. An old woman with too much knowledge of herbs. Any of them could be branded as a witch. This tale is one among many. Werewolves, wendigo, jinn, and vampires all haunt our archive. But of them all, witches may be the most feared. You can find them all here on Chronica Arcana. So what powers did people truly believe the witch carried? The witch's powers were vast and terrifying. She was said to fly by night, smeared with ointments made from unholy ingredients. She could curse a field with a word, blight a herd with a glance. She called upon familiars, animals like black cats, toad, or crows, demons in disguise. Most feared of all, she was believed to attend the witches' Sabbath, a midnight gathering where witches feasted, danced, and sealed their pact with the devil himself. Not all traditions were European. In Slavic tales, the Baba Yaga haunted deep forests, a witch-like figure who flew in a mortar and devoured the unwary. In Africa and the Americas, colonists recorded belief in witches who transformed into animals or walked invisibly by night. Wherever people faced uncertainty, the witch's shadow grew. But what happened when people believed the witch had appeared among them? Fear of witches was not only whispered, it was acted upon. From the 15th to the 18th century, tens of thousands of people, mostly women, were accused of witchcraft across Europe. In Salem, Massachusetts, panic in 1692 led to neighbors turning on each other, their fears fueled by dreams, visions, and superstition. In Germany, entire villages accused themselves into silence, with hundreds burned in waves of trials. The signs of witchcraft were everywhere. Milk that soured overnight, a sudden storm, a sick child. These became proof of the witch's presence. To protect themselves, people wore charms of iron, carved hex signs into barns, or carried relics. But still they feared, for the witch could strike anywhere. And so the question remained, could she be defeated? For every power the witch was said to hold, people imagined a defense. Iron nails hammered into doorways, salt scattered across thresholds, a broom laid across the entry so a witch must count every straw before passing. In Catholic Europe, holy water, relics, and the signs of the cross were shields against her curse. In Protestant lands, prayers and scripture were the strongest protection. Even bells rung at dawn were thought to scatter spirits and drive away her shadow. Some feared witches so deeply they carried witch bottles, jars filled with nails, hair, and urine, buried beneath the threshold to trap her spell. The witch was feared, but never unstoppable. Yet, even with these defenses, trials and accusations multiplied, and countless lives were lost. If charms and relics could not silence her shadow, what could? Over time, the terror faded, but it never vanished. By the 18th century, science and reason began to replace superstition. The witch trials slowed, then ended. But the image of the witch endured. In folk tales, she became the crone at the edge of the forest. In literature, she was Macbeth's prophetess, Faust's temptress, the wicked witch of fairy tales. And even today, on Halloween, children still dress as witches, pointy hat, broom and all. But beneath the costume is something far older. The witch was never only about spells. She was about fear. Fear of women, fear of the unknown, fear of chaos breaking into daily life. And so her shadow lingers, not in fire-lit trials, but in the stories we tell, the whisper that warns us that some powers are never safe to touch. The people feared her magic, but in the end, that fear was born from their own belief. This was Chronica Arcana, the myth of the witch. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel as it helps us tremendously. Also consider taking a look at our Myth and Magic playlist. It contains all the myths and legends we've explored so far. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.